Welcome back to the Ben and Wrench YouTube channel. So, got a couple projects in line like we talked about. The old 8.1 big block truck, she's underway. You guys obviously have seen that. But we did have the GMC Jimmy out front, right? So, we're gonna get that unit in here. First thing we're gonna start off with, and you're gonna be like, it's completely rhetorical, but it makes sense when you see the long run project. So, it is a dead horse. So we're gonna push this unit in, and we're gonna do a body lift, right? You're like, what the hell you wanna do a body lift first for, right? There's a reason. So obviously if you've been paying attention, we're 5.3 swapping this thing because that's what we do around here. We LS swap the world, and now 8.1 swap the world, I guess, too. But, so, with that being said, body lift. 2, give us clearance. Also, we're gonna pull the front differential out. Our friend that re-geared the old LTD is gonna re-gear the Blazer, Jimmy, sorry. That is getting 410 gears and 33s, so that'll be exciting. So we're gonna get the front diff out of the way. So front diff, body lift makes tons of room for activities. So that's gonna allow us to put the LS in a lot easier for the initial process. So what we'll end up doing is we're gonna pull the front clip off of it and get that out of the way, because we don't need it anyways. Plus, lift the body up, get our new body lift in. That way when we go to pull the 6.43 out, it's gonna be glorious, be easy. So, gotta be proactive, gotta get things done. So we might as well start with the easy stuff first, right? Get her up in the air, get it apart. Let's get this thing in here. There's the unit. All right, so, I mean, race cars aren't just for race cars, you know? I mean, this one's got a lot of camber, you know, after Gavin raced it last season. That right rear's tipped in pretty heavy, but also a tool, right? You got it, you might as well use it. Next day, of course, and of course it's not 70 and sunny, it's rainy and crap out. So you may hear that and the furnace running and all kinds of crap. But we talked about it, the Jimmy's in here, it's body lift time. I'm gonna go ahead and most likely, we're probably just gonna pull the core support, leave the hood on because the 4.3 is still in it, not that it matters, but we don't want the fuse box and all that stuff to get completely saturated. So we're gonna start with that first. We do have a hitch to put on, a couple other small things. We're just trying to pick up some of the pieces laying around that have been sitting here for a minute, and then maybe, probably not this video, guys, but maybe we'll get the 4.3 pulled out. But I'd like to do that in one. It's always nice and refreshing to see the old junk come out and the new premium stuff go in. So, a little bit of a walk around. We talked about it before. It is a Mississippi GMC Jimmy, so she is in spectacular shape for the year. It's a 2000. And we threw this silvery bronze metallic colored bumper on it because better than no bumper. But check this stuff out, guys. And there's no prop rod. How freaking cool is that? But look, so there has been something living in here. Yeah. Seems like we've been getting a lot of those. And the radiator's missing. So we need one of those. Now this one will probably end up with a 4.3 radiator because it is a stock 5.3 build. You know, the LS is cooled more efficiently, aluminum headed, better flowing water pump. So our mud bogger Blazer has been like that for many years. Stock 4.3 radiator with a stock 5.3. Works just fine. Done it, proved it. It does work. So that's what's gonna happen here. So I think we're gonna go ahead and take what we did put on back off because we wanted it to look nice for you when we brought it in, because that's what it was all about, right? And then we were thought about taking the body right off, because if we separate it, we can just leave the body up in the air, put the suspension lift on it when it's just the frame, make it easier to change the motor. But then I'm dealing with brakes and brake lines. And yeah, you could just swing the master cylinder over, then the brake booster over, then the filler neck, stretch that. We ain't doing all that. We're just gonna body lift it. So let's get started. Let's start tearing stuff apart because that's what you're here to see. So we have ourselves a Zone Off-Road 98 to 04 Jimmy. 2-inch body lift, that is, folks. I might have said 3 or 2.5 or whatever. So let's see what we got. And yes, if you didn't notice, new windshield for the OBS. So we have some, I know she looks sexy, but we have some random plates. And you're gonna say, Brian, you're throwing it on the hood. Well, you know, whatever. More random plates. I'm assuming maybe, I don't know what I'm assuming yet. Well, you know what these are? And they're not hockey pucks, guys. I know. That's what you're saying. You're like, this guy, you know, hockey pucks. It makes sense, right? Hopefully they gave us the right bolts. And they are metric. They're 10.9. Which, if you didn't know that, it's a key indicator to check if it's a metric bolt. It'll say, you know, a numerical digit versus the little lines. So it's more specific than that, but that's a generalization of it. Bolt kit. Oh. Wow, that is very stiff.
That's what she said.
I'm assuming to extend our filler hose. Some more, whoop, I don't know what that is, but you look nasty. This is the bag kit. Some zip ties, some hose clamps. It looks like some of our stuff may have leaked out. And then these gotta be our bumper brackets. So, oh, there's the destructions. Sticker, he ain't getting that. It's going right on that hoist over there. There we go. Yeah, we don't need those. All right, so we're gonna undo everything we did already. So we're gonna pull our grill first. Give her a little yank. And that's it. What you do is you get yourself the biggest ratchet strap you own, because that's, you know, what's not being used right now. And then just hook around the hood and tie her to the rack. And just like that, we got ourselves a prop rod. Plus, it's not in the way when we go to pull this core support out of the way, so now you're like, why don't you just take the hood off? Well, I don't want to right now. We will later, though, I promise. Okay, so if you haven't removed these headlights before, by all means, pretty straightforward. Pull off your little hood release, and there's only one on this side because, you know, I put it in like that. Give her a little wiggle jiggle. Whoop. No headlight bulbs, but normally you just, you know, undo those. Remember, we threw it together aesthetically appealing for you guys. So there's a reason why they're not plugged in. So we did go ahead and get the ICT billet brackets that retain all the factory air conditioning and power steering. So that's gonna work out super nice. Keeps everything in the right spot. And then we did order a current performance wiring harness that is pretty much plug and play. A little higher on the budget side by all means, but I guess we'll see how it works when we piece all that stuff together. So we're gonna actually save the air conditioning lines because we're gonna go ahead and obviously reuse them, so we don't wanna just, you know, sawzall them like we normally would, right? Because, you know, this truck is going to West Virginia. And he wants AC. So you're gonna see me removing the AC stuff here, and then also we're gonna take and remove the AC lines down here. We gotta pull those dudes loose because, again, we're gonna just get the core support out of our way, knowing we're gonna be, you know, putting an engine in this. So it'll make it easier. All right, get your big crescent wrench, bust your AC line loose. I probably should see if it's charged. Maybe, might be a good idea. We're just gonna poke the Schrader valve real fast. Don't need no unexpected money shot, you know.
That's nasty.
Well, should be empty. So I wanted to show you, if you haven't ever dealt with one of these Blazers before, or Jimmys, or anything of these S10s that are four-wheel drive, so you may not know how the front differential engages. So I'll show you real quick while we're here, right? Because we're pulling the core support off, and you probably picked up on that already. So this dude here is a vacuum can, and that pulls a cable to engage the front differential. You ask, how does it get vacuum? So on the transfer case, there's a vacuum switch. So when the transfer case is engaged in the four-wheel drive, it pushes a little button that diverts the vacuum from this port to that port, which then draws that dude in, which pulls the cable, which makes it in four-wheel drive. So quick tech tip for you in that. You can see we still had some friends living down in here too. All right, let's get the rest of this off. Don't need this anymore. All right, first mess of the day. These damn trucks have a power steering cooler in the front. Yeah, I know. And then we gotta pull these hoses. So what's that gonna do? Make a freaking mess. But it's part of the game. Let's see how good we do. So I grabbed a little union. So hopefully we can be efficient. You know, and not make too big of a mess. And then we go loop the hoses together. Just like that. Now we can tighten her up. So here's that cooler we were talking about. I already did pull the screws out, but we got to take it out of the way to get our wiring harness out of the way. So you see kind of the gist of it. It's just a big squiggly line. I mean, how efficient is that? I don't know, but we gotta get it to stop making a mess. Finally, the last two bolts. I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you ever take an S10 apart, you see how there's this little cutout there? There's a reason. So your washer can fit. All right, so just like on the S10 we're doing with the old LT swap, these things just kind of weasel out of here, and you can leave the fenders right alone. That does take a little twist. Now you guys see why we do that. I mean, look at all the room for activities. It's gonna make it so nice putting the engine in. Also, it's gonna make it so nice that we don't have to do those body mounts right now, right? Right? Huh? So then we'll just have the regular body mounts to do. So, I know I looked at the directions. I know. But directions do state that we got to pull the body mount bolts. I know, who would have thought? Son of a biscuit. All right, I know this stuff has been driving you just as crazy as me. That's why we're gonna suck it up. The boring yet important stuff takes over. So you got to start disconnecting your grounds and your brake lines and things like that that are going to, affect us from going 2 inches. So here's one of those right here. We got let's see if I can point to it for you. So right there is a 13 millimeter for your brake lines. So I get that dude ripped out of the way. And there was also a ground strap that was important that goes back over here on the back of the head. So you gotta disconnect that dude. and a couple other misc clips as you go, and then the filler next. So we were looking at that. Obviously, we gotta, screw with that. But we have some 7mm. We gotta pull those 3. We're gonna let that dude fall back in, and then we're gonna assess how we're gonna chop it in half and extend it. License plate lights, we gotta undo the main harness. Let's get her in the air. All right, that thing is free. All right, first walkthrough together. So somebody already robbed the damn, oh no, the kitty's still on there. What? No way. This is the first freaking thing they take. So it actually is as clean as we thought. I never looked underneath this thing, but she is in immaculate shape, which is awesome. Except for the gas tank strap. That was kind of our fault when we pulled the damn thing off the trailer. It snagged the trailer. So, other than that, I mean, this thing, look at the paint. That's why we love you guys in the South right there. Look at that. This thing is in amazing shape. It's nice that Tennessee S10 we got. Holy crap. Honestly, what's nice about that, though, that means all the bolts are gonna come loose. I mean, look at this thing. Definitely worth investing the money in, for sure. So, with the 5.3, we're gonna use the 4L60 that's in this. Now, some of the bolts won't line up. Basically, most likely these 3 here. The reason that is because we're using obviously an LS versus a early style 4L60. Electronically, they're the same, so that part will work. We're just gonna lack a couple extra bell housing bolts. But that's pretty normal for us, right? 4, 3, whatever. As long as you have the dowel pins and like at least 1, it's good enough, So we'll deal with that obviously when we get ready to get to that part. Obviously, we're gonna finish the body lift. We wanna try doing that for Friday's video for you guys. We may, like I said, I don't know, that motor might come out today. I don't know. But from a body lift standpoint, as long as all the body bolts come out, that's the biggest thing. But I did get a heads up from a friend of ours. So I did a body lift many, many years ago, the old hockey puck style, and it was, when you start messing with the alignment of the cab and stuff, it kind of sucks. It was on a pickup truck if you didn't pick up on that, but with this here, my buddy Eddie suggested pulling all the bolts out of one side and loosening up on the bolts on the other. So that way you can hinge the body up, put all that side in, leave the bolts loose, lift the other side of the body up, same thing, right? Hopefully with the hoist, now I don't know how safe this is gonna be, so just remember that. I'm glad you're watching from over there and not here. But I think I'm gonna use my, where the hell are they? My jack stands, right there, to lift the body up. So we should be able to lift one side up at a time and do exactly that process. So, I think we're down to pulling bolts. I'm gonna look at the instructions again. I know, okay, just stop making fun of me. It's just, and I have a hard time. There's not enough pictures in there. But I think we gotta pull the rear bumper to at least accommodate for the lift, because it does have the brackets to go up. So, instructions, brackets, up. All right, so remove license plate. Remove license plate. Looks like then we got, there's our brackets. That's what we were talking about. So it looks like the rear bumper does have to come off like we thought. So we're going to start with that just to get it out of the way, and then we can start hitting the body mounts. Yeah. I'm just saying, not many trucks around here you can do this.
Got that in?
Yep.
Okay.
There it is. There we go. Hey! All right, moment of truth. First bolt. What do you think? All right, that's promising. These things always make me nervous, I'm just saying. Number 2. All right, so the reason we did the passenger side first, well, first off, because there's nothing on this side. So We're not screwing the filler neck or any of that stuff. So we'll have to deal with that in, on the minute on the other side. So these all did come out, which we kind of figured. I mean, Derek did really well with buying this thing. He did buy it in Michigan. Somebody drove it up from Mississippi, and then they wrecked it, and then he bought it for 200 bucks. So now we're gonna put 5,000 into it and make it worth 6,000. See, that's how it works, guys, making money. So all the bolts are out, and we're gonna spin the other ones loose, kind of like our buddy Eddie said, and we're gonna try that and see if we can hinge this body over, because this isn't a pickup cab, so we got a lot of weight. But between Dad and I, got my helper here, we're gonna use the 2 jack stands on this passenger side and see if we can get them spacers in. And then we're gonna make sure, we're gonna anti-squeeze our bolts. So next time we put a 3-inch body lift on here, or maybe 2 inches, huh? Now we're talking. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna lower the lift down and see if the body goes up. You ready? You ready? All right, let's try it. All we need is 2 inches, baby. Oh, yeah. That's how you freaking do it. Look at that gap. You guys see that gap? Gonna have all the lift. A good thing we got these big eccentric ass side skirts, because they drag the rocker down a little bit, and you won't even know there's a body lift. So I'll start sticking pucks in. All right, that allowed us to get our spacer in. We might have to pry down on the back a little bit to get this rear in. It's close, but you can kind of see I can separate it by hand. Let me fish a couple of those in here real quick, and then we can jump to the other side. So you can see the different length in bolts. So that'll be 2 inches longer. And then we're gonna go ahead and put anti-seize on it. But I'll tell you guys, you see how these got this self-starting pilot here? And these don't, they're a little bit of a bear to get going, but you use your factory washer. And we're gonna tighten those units up. Let's get some Loctite on, or anti-seize on it. Oh, I'm just anti-seize in my bolt. I swear. And there we go. Now we gotta loosen the other side up all the way and then tip her up. All right, we switched roles. Dad's gonna lower her down. Go ahead. Keep going. A little more. Whoop, hold on. We found our culprit. It's this guy here. Probably our fuel pump wiring, not really important stuff. See, if I would have read the directions, it probably would have said, get this clip out of the way. Look at that, now the wiring is nice and free. So if you guys are watching this video for the how-to portion of it, you gotta lower it down quite a bit more. You see that dished cup? Well, that's part of the body, so we gotta make sure we have real estate for that to fit in. So now all the other ones are gonna go in easier. Go ahead and snug all these down now. And of course we're gonna torque them to spec. Yep. All right, a couple 18s. Now you'll probably have to leave all this stuff loose, simply just to allow for movement while we go to put this back on. All right, we got our new one. So I did just kind of tap it in there with the old rubber mallet. It is kind of a snug fit. And then I utilize the original hardware. That stuff just seems to work easier. I mean, obviously we'll have to use those, their bolts in certain situations, but how nice is that just to blast them back down? And I actually robbed one of these plates, because we're only gonna be able to use one for the back of the bumper now. And I utilize it on top. Fits like factory, who'd have thought? So I'm gonna finish changing those brackets around, guys, and then we're gonna try fishing that on there. Now I did look at the hitch. It looks like the hitch utilizes these two as well. So I'm not sure, we may have to use the hitch hardware to help hold the bumper on too. We're gonna find out together. That ain't gonna work either. All right, so rear bumper doesn't fit. Directions, who would have thought? Should have read them. So they want you to notch the frame, which is all fine and dandy. This damn light would stick somewhere. So right here, they want us to go 1.5 inches, 1 5/8 to cut a little square out. Kind of this, you can kind of see like the aura of a square there. But what's not in their pictures is this cross member that is not there. So I called Derek and he said, well, he did a body lift one time on a 2-door Blazer and it wasn't there either. So we're thinking this might be a Jimmy thing, or because this is like the loaded package, maybe that's why it's there. Obviously Zone didn't plan for that, so we're gonna go ahead and remove it. We're not gonna carry a spare tire because a spare 33 is not gonna fit. So we're gonna sawzall it off there, and then you see these rivets, we're just gonna blow them off with a torch, get that out of the way, and then we gotta cut our little baby notch out so our bumper fits. So let's get to cutting. And that's it. Gotta knock these rivets out. Don't need that anymore. Get a nice position here. These things work super slick. Other than cutting our wiring in half, which we don't want to do. All right, you ready? You guys ready? Let's try it. All the clearance. All right, let's see if she fits now. Hey, what do you think? Looks pretty good now.
I like it. Oh, yeah.
Let's get some bolts in her. Alrighty, there it is with the hitch on. We do have to tighten the bolts up, doing a little adjusting, tapping her back and forth. But you can see the hitch utilizes a couple of the same holes. And there was a large hole here in the middle there that it also shared. There is obviously a gap now, but it kind of is what it is. What are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Unless we were to re-drill the holes, try lifting the whole thing up. And that's on him. But the hitch is on. Guys, she's on the ground. That's what a real 2 inches looks like. Just saying. It turned out good. It looks good. The bolts all came out. Everything went well. The bumper, check this out, looks freaking sweet. The hitch looks kind of funky. We knew that was going to be the case because obviously the body lift lifts the body away from the hitch. Now, can Derek re-drill it down the road and lift the hitch up? Sure. Sure he could. I'm not, though. So, front end is off, but the body lift is complete. We didn't have to mess with steering, which was awesome. We didn't have to mess with brake lines, besides the one little bracket down there, which was awesome. So, on that note, guys, I'm going to call this one a success for now. The suspension lift should be arriving tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get a little more progress done with that. And then we still got to run out to Wayne's junkyard and grab us a Farm Fresh 5.3 for this unit, but we do have one picked out. So on that note, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, share all that good stuff. We'll see you on the next one.